Just make sure your shirt stays tight. Jesus Christ. There. Leave it right there. Don't touch it. But keep it out of the way of the shirt. It's flex. There. Now keep it off. Should we sit back? When you sit forward, you look like a Canadian hockey commentator. Don't you think? We're in Raleigh, North Carolina, having a drink of Japanese whiskey. Mm-hmm. Aren't we fancy? Why did you buy Japanese? Why didn't you just go Jameson? Have we outgrown Jameson?
No, I couldn't find it. I gave up.
In an ABC store, you couldn't find Jameson.
I didn't look very hard, but
wow,
that bottle was right in front of me.
It's a big bottle.
They're all big bottles. There's a lot of shiny things. I made an impulsive decision.
I like it. It's a good whiskey. It's peaty. It has a little lemony snickets aftertaste.
Lemony snickets.
Just go. See, my shirt's falling because my mic's probably wrong.
It's not as good as Jameson.
It's not as good as Jameson,
but more expensive.
That was more expensive than Jameson?
Yeah.
This is the best video we've ever done right now. 10 minutes on Jameson and Japanese whiskey. I'm pretty proud of it.
I feel comfortable.
So the CrossFit Games.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Who's excited? This guy.
How many seconds of the CrossFit Games did you watch, John?
Zero
seconds.
Seconds. Unless you count does it count still pictures on Instagram of the CrossFit Games? Do those count as technically It's a second frozen in time?
Do you know of any of the events?
Nope.
You have to know of one. There's, in my opinion, what will go down in folklore is the most famous event of the games maybe ever.
I saw those.
No, the Froning with the rope climb, stealing Matt's chalk. That's number one.
What about when Froning fell off the rope climb?
That was 2010, I believe. And that wasn't great.
I saw that there was a sprinting event.
I'm talking about the clean.
Oh, I did see a clip of that on Instagram.
That literally took.
That counts as watching seconds of the game because it was.
Sure, I'll give you that. It took that event took 3.5 hours to watch, but it was very
Why are
it
you
was
closer to the.
Because I'm a Canadian hockey commentator. Don Cherry, you ever heard of him?
Nope.
I watched Letterkenny, so I know his name.
Okay, stay focused.
Oh, sorry. Games. That event took 3.5 hours. It was very dramatic, though. They actually in one of the coolest moves I've ever seen, both women cleaned the last bar, which was 280, I think, something like that. What?
I thought you had a hair on your face, but it's part of your beard, so it's okay.
I have a lot of hairs on my face. There's going to be a lot of editing in this video.
Sorry, Amanda.
I believe the last women's weight was 280. They both hit it, and Dave said, keep on going. And then Tia hit it, and that was it. So, John, what was your favorite event from the 2019 games?
I'm gonna go with the only one I watched. I didn't even watch. I watched clips of.
Which was
the clean.
The clean. That was a cool event because they let them go. The women tied at I believe 260, and then they just 255, and they just put 10 pounds more on the bar to decide it. That was cool.
Like a in the moment decision.
In the moment decision. That was kind of
that premeditated. If that had happened,
I don't know. I think that event took about 6 hours. Mm-hmm. So I think they just figured, screw it. We've been out here all night. We might as well just
take it a little further and get it done.
Might as well just keep on going. Ironic or obvious that the winners of the clean on the men's and women's side were in fact the winners of the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, but I feel like that cat's been out of the bag for a while now.
Yeah.
Weightlifting's important.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, shocker.
We were ahead of the game with that 20 years ago.
Whatever you say, buddy. I don't know. I just
20 years.
I let the Lord speak through me.
Do you though?
Just go with it. All right. So the big topic that I'm sure everybody wants to comment on, or everybody has commented on, is the cut, right? So we started, just FYI, I have a cheat sheet, which is my phone, We started the games with 117 athletes. Okay? I'll give you an example. Let me see. Amal Al-Sharani from, let's see where she's from. Amal Al-Sharani. Well, I don't know where she's from. She's from a country that looks very far away. Amal spent approximately, let's say, $740 on a flight to Wisconsin to do one event. She competed in the CrossFit Games. She probably got a shit ton of Reebok gear.
Free.
For free.
Plastic.
Which,
Free plastic.
if you weigh the two, the cost of the flight, the hotel, the travel expense, blah, 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 versus the free Reebok, you could probably make the argument she broke even. Right?
Well, and you could. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. You could make the argument that it was still the experience of a lifetime, and
Yeah. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic and funny, but
a valid point nonetheless. But I think that's an awesome point overall. How many male and female competitors overall were there this year?
there's about 3 million people tied at 117 on the women's side, and then on the men's side, 143.
And then after the cut, how many were left?
After the first cut, I believe they went down to 70.
Right.
And then there was another cut after that went down to after the sprint couplet, I believe they went to 40.
Right.
After the sprint couplet, they went to 30, and so on and so on. So the comment I just made to you, 15th place finisher Laura Horvath did 6 events. Brooke Wells did 6 events. Alessandra Pacelli, one of my personal favorites, did 6 events. Annie Thorsdottir, one of the world's personal favorites, did 6 of the 12 events. All right? Now, I get that you put 10 people on the stage. It gives you the ability to do a workout like the clean, right? Where you put everybody on the stage, you put those athletes on the stage, and you let them have at it. As far as competition goes, did it make the competition better or worse? In my opinion, worse, right? Because when you have at least 20 athletes, let's say, you have more of a skewed scoring system. You have scores that are all over the place. You have more competition, a more competitive atmosphere, and you just have a better product, right? Now, I don't know if the plan is to change this after this year or what, but I know that the overwhelming concern that people had when I talked to them was the cuts, right? That's all anybody seemed to care about.
Well, you know what I think is cool about the whole thing? The message seems to be, to me, it's coming pretty clearly as a shot over the bow, that unless you're one of the top 10 in the world, right, your primary focus probably shouldn't be the games, right?
Agreed.
Now, did they make the cut too quickly to determine who those 10 were? Sounds like they probably did, because some of those names, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know, probably should have been in the. But regardless of where they make the cut, as an affiliate owner, I love the fact that the message is coming out loud and clear. Hey, you know who should be worried about being a competitive CrossFitter or a professional CrossFitter? Maybe not. Maybe competitive is the wrong word. But you know who should be worried about being a professional CrossFitter? The top 10 in the world. In the world. You know what everybody else should probably be worried about? Wellness, fitness, using it to look and feel better.
Are you saying that Annie Thorsdottir is not one of the 10 best?
Saying that the cut might have come too soon. But the message...
Carol Ann Reason-Thibault?
Right. I just said the cut probably sounds to me like it came too soon. But the message is awesome. Especially for affiliate owners. Like, hey, man, what should the focus of the gym be? Trying to produce one of the top 10 athletes in the world? I mean, cool. You can still be a part of that, right? But what is the real purpose of CrossFit?
Fitness, wellness, health,
longevity,
quality
of life,
being able to stand up off the toilet,
getting people out of wheelchairs,
bingo,
keeping people from the diabetes.
Back to the topic at hand. So the performance that we saw. So here's the thing that I've been going back and forth about, right? Tia-Clair Toomey's performance is the greatest in games history.
What do you like to call her?
Tia-Clair Toomey?
I thought you used the nickname, but you didn't.
What?
I used T-Clair or something.
No, Tia-Clair. Aussie, amazing athlete, but you totally threw me off right there. No, I don't know where I was going. Edit that. Tia-Clair's performance is not even arguably, right? It's not even on the same page.
This is not up for debate.
It's not up for debate. All right.
Rudy has been so spun up about this call. Can I just tell you?
Go ahead.
With zero positive feedback from me or anyone else to encourage him, he literally has worked himself into a frenzy before this video about this whole shit. I'm still
I love greatness, right? I Michael Jordan. That's it, right? Great athletes. I love to watch greatness perform. Right? That is all I can think of. I love to watch great in any sport, right? Mm-hmm. And what we saw at the 2019 CrossFit Games from Tia-Clair Toomey
was some competitive fitness.
You don't have to make fun of it. You don't have to make fun of it. Was undoubtedly, is that it? Did I say that right? Undoubtedly. Mm-hmm. Undoubtedly the greatest performance in games history. Now, can you make the argument?
Male or female?
Male or female. We've done the math, and by we, I mean me.
I stood there listening.
There's a bunch of stuff written on the whiteboard over there, right? Froning's best performance, he scored, hold on, I can't see it. Froning's best performance out of 1,350 points. No, that was Matt. Sorry. 2016, Matt Fraser's second best performance ever. 2016, out of 1,350 points, he scored 81% of the points. Right? In 2016, Tia-Clair in 2019, 89% of the points. There were 1,200 points to have, and Tia took 1,071 of them, 89%. To kind of put this in perspective of another sport, let's say somebody wins the New York Marathon at a time of 2 minutes and 10 seconds. That would mean Kristen Holta scored 876 points, that's 73%. That would mean if Tia-Clair ran a 2 hour and 10 minute marathon, Kristen Holta ran a 2 hour and 30 minute marathon. She finished 20 minutes behind. Can you just act excited?
I literally was
so good. It's so good. Now, some of you are going to make the argument, oh, Rudy, but you just said the field was too small and the points were all skewed. Well, when we get down to the last events, we have a different scoring system, right? It's a 10-point breakdown. Not to mention, here's Tia-Clair's scores in the first 6 events. First place, 12th place. Second place, 12th place. Fourth place, third place. Boom, 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 boom.
I feel like you should have crossed your
Those 12th place finishes are worth 78 points, right? Her third place finish on the ringer, the 11th event, was worth 80 points.
What?
So I don't even know what that means. How do you not know what that means?
I don't know, but it sounds awesome.
A 12th place finish in the beginning of the games when there were more athletes is just as good as a third place finish at the end.
Oh, that is a good point.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do. Jesus. So I don't want to hear the argument.
He doesn't want to hear it.
Not to mention, she had her ass handed to her on Ringer 1 and Ringer 2 by ckery, who dominated those events, and Tia took a 4th and 3rd on those 2 events, right? So you can't make the argument that the field was smaller, right, if a 12th place finish is equal to a 3rd place finish, right? So you can make the argument if you extrapolate those points backwards, right?
Whoa. Like quantum physics?
To the first events, that in essence, she didn't really finish worse than 4th on a single event.
So do you think the cut was too soon?
How is that what you're taking from that whole...
I'm trying, dude.
That whole diatribe? Of course the cut was too soon.
Well, yeah, okay.
People flew across the world to compete at the games, and you gave them one event. An event which Tia-Clair Toomey won, by the way, in 16 minutes and 56 seconds. 16 minutes and 56 seconds of exercise. I realize she was in first place. Other people took longer. You got 20 minutes of exercising in for a flight halfway around the world. What if you came from Africa? Right? What if you came from South Africa? You know how long that flight is? I've taken that flight, but didn't go to Wisconsin. I stopped in D.C.
Figure that those participants were like, hey, look, this is a vacation
of
that
course.
I get to participate. They weren't like,
It's not the point. The point is give them 2 events. Right? Give the world field 2 events and then cut them. That's fine.
I like the message they're sending with that, man.
I know you do. I know. You don't want it to be competitive. You want Tia? No, just give Tia the money. Just give Tia and Matt the $300,000.
I think the top 10 and top 20 duking it out is freaking awesome. It's an awesome spectacle. It's awesome for them. It's awesome for the sport. I think everybody else should focus on other things.
So Tia's performance is inarguably, did I just make that up too? Inarguably the most dominant performance in games history. Don't tell me about Froning. Froning wasn't even close in 2013, right? Matt wasn't even close. He's 8 percentage points behind in 2016, right? That being said, what would you say, and I know you're not even going to have an opinion about this, what would you say was the greatest travesty of the cuts of the 2019 games?
No, I do feel like that is somewhat of a travesty. If there's some names that were obviously in the top 10, because I feel like for those people, it is an extremely valid profession, right?
I'm gonna lay it out there for you right
absolutely.
now.
Great example.
Brent Fikowski.
Yeah, dude.
23rd place. Brent did 5 events.
Yeah.
This is a 3-time top 4 athlete, right? Mm-hmm. Arguably, you can argue this one. The Tia thing we can't argue. You can argue this one. Arguably the most exciting athlete in the games to watch because you never know what he's going to do.
I've never seen him.
Oh, dude. Brent's either first place or like he looks like he might die, right? It's one or the other.
That is kind of fun.
Right? Patrick Vellner, 16th place. Patrick did 6 events.
Right.
Top 3 times, I believe, at the games. Right? So
2 times, isn't it?
So what you have, the issue there is that you have these athletes, male and female athletes, who are spectacular. They have proven their fitness, right? They didn't fall. Let's get this straight. Brent Fikowski did not become, I believe he was 3rd last year. Brent Fikowski did not become 20 places worse in 1 year. That's not what happened, right?
Right.
The issue is when you have with a sport like this, when you have athletes that are great over and over again, and then 1 year they fall off, you have to look at either the programming change.
Well, it wasn't just one athlete. It was named.
It was multiple athletes. Sarah Sigmund's daughter, 20th place, right? Multiple.
And I want to clarify something because I feel like I'm getting a bad rap now. I do think it's somewhat of a travesty for the true. I think the game should be about the top 10 to 20 men and women duking it out for everybody to see. But I feel like there should be due diligence, obviously, and a chance for those top 10 to 20 to be identified and have a chance to go head to head against. And you can do you think if the field had been more competitive, if names like Annie Thorsdottir, Sarah Sigmund's daughter, if they were in that top 10, do you think Tia's performance still would have been so dominant? Or do you think people that really could have given her a legitimate run for the money just got cut too soon?
I don't know. I think that the field that you had at the end, that group of 10 that went all 12 events, I think you had an odd mix. I think you had some great athletes, and you had some athletes that were good at the stuff that had come before.
And you can make the argument that maybe Tia's performance was so dominant was because those names that should have been there weren't there.
Yeah. Edit. The only performance that's even close to Tia's is Matt's from 2018, right? Matt had a total of 1,162 points, but you know the difference. Do you?
I was way more stoked about. That's a pretty badass compass.
It's a nice compass, yeah.
Can you guys?
Wow. Derailed. Anyway,
That's pretty cool.
Matt's performance is close. Matt won by a larger point spread, right? He won by 220 points in 2018, and he scored a total of 1,162 points. But you know the difference? Just make something up if you don't. Then just say no.
No. Rudy, what is the difference?
1,400 total points
What?
in 2018, a possible 1,400 total points, giving Matt a total of what percentage? 83%. Tia's percentage is still 6% higher than Matt's best performance. 2019 games, Tia-Claire Toomey, maybe not inarguably. You can make the argument that the cuts might have made a difference, right? But again, I say she took 78 points for 12th and 80 points for 3rd later, right? Inarguably, I'm going to inarguably again. I'm going back to it. Tia's performance, single greatest in CrossFit Games history. Better than Rich Froning, better than Matt Fraser. People are going to freak out about that.
I feel like people are going to say she was competing against a watered down field.
What difference does it make?
Well, it's easier to be dominant when you're not competing against the top 10.
Right, but 3rd later was the same points as 12 earlier. 12 earlier was her worst finish, right? The worst, the lowest amount of points she took the entire games was 78. She took 89% of the total points.
But people can make the argument that if some of those names that belong in the top 10 were there, would she even have won all those events? But
what I'm saying is, if you add another 10 people in, the scoring system changes, right? So let's say
add another 10, just a different 10. She'd be competing against.
Possibly.
That's what I'm saying.
Possibly, but the person that she didn't even do that on the back-to-back workout thing that Katrine dominated everybody on. She didn't even do that well. She went 3rd and 4th.
You
went
3rd and 4th.
I did not. I would have puked doing either one of those workouts. Well, at that pace, I could have done them in like a half hour, right? So, take away our opinion, or should I say my opinion. If you want to win the CrossFit Games, I'm going to give you the greatest tip I can ever give you. Become a world-class weightlifter, and then you can possibly win the CrossFit Games. There's only 2 world-class weightlifters in the field. There's others that have competed at Worlds, Annie, Katrine, but there's one Olympian in the field, and she is the most dominant CrossFit Games athlete ever.
Cool.
Also, she beat the guys on the swim. She beat the dudes on the swim.
I'm going to give you a tip.
She was waiting for a dude when they came out of the water to run to finish.
That is pretty badass.
Yeah. You didn't see that, did you? Her and another Aussie ran together at the end, and she was like, "Come on, buddy." That's how good she is.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a tip. If you're an affiliate owner and you want to run a sustainable business, focus on people's wellness.
Or become a world-class weightlifter.
Don't focus on the game. Don't do it. Focus on the wellness.
Missed. I knew I'd have one shot at that. Nope.
That was going in.
I'm Matumbo'd you. Okay. See you guys later. We're eating some steaks now.
Steaks and bacon.
We're going to go for a bike ride, like children.
No, we're not doing that. We are going to eat some bacon wrapped shrimp with the steaks, though.
I like that. I like shrimp.
You really want to ride bikes right now? It's 9.
I just want you to get on and see.
8 p.m.
See if it fits you. It's not like we have anywhere to go. You live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
I live in.
What's around here? Jesus. There's an urgent care next to it.
We're not in the middle of nowhere.